Hey YouTubers, welcome back to video number 14 of Small Engines Questions and Answers for Friday, September 17th, 2010. Here's an old Ariens from the early 70s, I believe. It's got a 7 horsepower Tecumseh engine. Now I've gotten some questions from a guy on YouTube called Ben Robinson 72. You can check out his video and maybe give him a hand too if you have time. Now he says his tractor will only run with the choke on. So what I've done is I've taken part of the carburetor apart. He says he's already cleaned it. One extra thing I wanted to show him is if he grabs a 5/64th bit and insert the bit in the emulsion tube in the center here and work it up and down like that. Put some carb cleaner in there at the same time. Now what happens is sometimes the emulsion tube gets dirty and you got to get in there and clean it good, or else even if you clean the carburetor, it's still not going to run right. So I thought I'd show you that. Again, that's a 5/64th drill bit. So make sure that the fuel's flowing good out of the fuel tank. You might be better to buy a whole carb kit for your carburetor because it's going to come with the O-ring that goes right here. It's going to come with this jet here, new screw and new O-ring in there. But if you don't do that, take the screw out, make sure the O-ring is good inside here. Make sure that this little hole here is clean, or else it's not going to run right. Make sure that hole's clean. Make sure the inside's clean as well, so remove the screw to do that. You can also remove this screw here and check the O-ring. If it's cracked, replace it. But again, if you buy a carb kit, it's going to come with all these O-rings and the screws as well. From the problem you're having, the float still seems to be good on your carb because it's not flooding itself. So what I recommend is, if you can afford it, is a brand new carb kit, and the needle and seat as well will be included in there. So try to do that for now and see how that goes. If you want to give him a hand, again, his YouTube handle is Ben Robinson 72. Check it out and give him a hand. I'd appreciate that. Thank you. So this old Ariens fairway, I'm going to get rid of that. If anybody needs parts, just let me know. The next question I have today is somebody's asking me, how can I get better fuel consumption out of my lawn tractor? Well, the key to that is to not have your engine revving high if you don't have to. So when you're not cutting grass, turn the throttle down so that it's not revving so high. But when you're cutting grass, obviously you gotta throttle up the engine. So that's one way you can reduce the fuel consumption. Second, you'd want to make sure that your engine is tuned up every year, especially the air filter. If the air filter, which is under here on this engine, is plugged, what's going to happen is it's going to burn more fuel, because with the filter being plugged, it's acting kind of like a choke. Also, make sure the plugs are replaced every year, the oil is changed, the oil filter as well, and the fuel filter. Make sure all these things are good, and you should have a little better fuel consumption on your lawn tractor. Now, question number 3 today is regarding the old home light that I showed in my previous Q&A video last Friday. I showed this old home light to show what a scored piston looks like, but someone's asking me if it'd be possible to repair that if you hone the cylinder down, if there are scratches on it, and then just reinstall a new piston and rings in there. So here's the saw we're talking about. And you can see in there that the piston and rings are scored, and I would imagine that the cylinder is scored as well. When I see something like this, I don't bother honing down the cylinder because it does expand the cylinder a bit, and for these old home lights you can't even get new parts for them. But if it was something that you can get new parts for, you're better off to put a new cylinder, piston and rings. I find it difficult to get oversized piston and rings for 2-cycle chainsaws and trimmers and stuff like that, and most of the time it's too expensive to repair anyways. So the answer is, I don't bother trying to repair something that's scored like that. The only way I would try is if the scratches were really light and that I could sand it down with a 400 grit sandpaper. Otherwise, I don't waste my time doing it. Now, my next question today, someone's asking me if the Homelight Super 2 chainsaws, the older chainsaws, if the clutch is left-handed thread or right-handed thread. Well, the answer to your question, the Homelight Super 2 clutch is left-handed thread, so you have to turn clockwise to loosen it. Nut here though, the very first one, is a regular nut. You would turn counterclockwise to remove it. Then you would remove this and the clutch drum. Now once you've got the clutch drum off, you can see it shows the direction that the clutch will come off, and it says off, and you turn clockwise. The reason why they put reverse threads on the clutch is because the engine turns clockwise. Therefore, when the engine's spinning and the threads are reverse thread, it tightens up on the shaft as you're using the chainsaw. So that's how it's made. The arrow, which will show you the way it comes off. Now the last question for today is a YouTuber is asking me, can I turn the augers on my snowblower when it's not running? Well, if you have a two-stage snowblower like this, what I mean by two-stage is it's got an impeller here and augers here. You should not be able to turn the augers when it's stopped. Now the only way you can spin the auger on these blowers here is if the shear bolt is off. So on this side I removed it, and I'll show you this is what it does. So if you just finished blowing your driveway and you realize that the auger is doing this, probably you've broken a shear bolt. Some of the really old MTDs that were single stage, you can move the augers like that even if the engine was stopped. So before I finish off the day today, I want to let you know that starting Saturday I'm posting videos on how to restore the John Deere 316 tractor. So come back and watch those. There's going to be quite a few videos showing that paint job. Again, I want to thank the voluntary contributions from YouTubers in the last week or two. Thank you very much. And have a nice week, and we'll see you next Friday. Take care now.